Hi guys and welcome back to Slice and Bite. Today I'm talking about Red Rising by Pierce Brown, and this book was amazing. So good. I went into the book with mixed feelings because I had a friend who read it or tried to and he didn't get into it, so I wasn't sure if I'd like it, but in the end I'm so glad I tried it because it was unlike anything I expected and unlike anything I've read recently, and it was just so entertaining. So the main character in this book is named Darrow, and he grows up as part of a mining colony on the planet Mars. And Darrow is part of a group of Reds. In this society, every social strata has a different color, golds being the highest and reds being the lowest. So in the very beginning of the book, Darrow is married to a girl named Io, and they're both like 15 or 16, so they're pretty young, and Io is killed by the government because she acts out in rebellion. So after Io dies, Darrow is swept up into this red rebellion that wants to overhaul society and get rid of the colors and make things equal, like democracy again. And Darrow's like, okay, I guess I can do this, guys, but really I just want to kill this one dude who killed my wife. So Darrow is made from a red into a gold, and there's this whole surgical procedure, and he has to go through all these tests, and eventually he's accepted into the Institute, which is kind of like the battle school from Ender's Game. And the main event of this first year of school is a huge battle royale, like in Hunger Games. So Red Rising ends with the conclusion of that game, and I won't tell you who wins. So as you can probably tell from my references to a few other works of fiction, this book borrows from a lot of different books, but it does it in a really smart way. It's kind of a step down from the Hunger Games, in which everybody is expected to kill each other and there can only be one survivor. That's not a huge facet of this game. Obviously they don't want all the students to die because then there wouldn't be any golds left to run the planet. But they also don't really bat an eye if a student dies occasionally. I won't lie, I was bored at certain points of the book. It felt after a while like one of those war strategy computer games like Risk or something similar that you just keep playing and playing, but nobody ever wins. It just goes on, and that kind of happened here because the battle was the entire point of the book, which I didn't expect. But they kept it interesting by changing the pace of the combat and adding new characters and surprising you with twists, so it wasn't all bad, basically. One of my favorite characters in this book is Mustang, who's from the House Minerva, and she's Darrow's love interest now that Io, his wife, is dead, sadly. I also had a slight crush on a character named Severo, who is in the House Mars, but he's kind of a loser because he's smaller and not as muscular or intelligent as the other Mars people. And despite the fact that you really shouldn't trust anybody in this battle because everyone wants to win, Severo and Darrow develop this really sweet, brotherly bond that is full of trust, and it just kind of drives the whole book. Also, you discover that Darrow may not be the only Red hiding out as a gold, and this rebellion may have other people planted throughout the Institute. So that lends an element of intrigue and mystery because you can't really take anybody at their word, and Darrow doesn't really know if anyone is who they say they are. So on the back cover, this book is compared to the Game of Thrones and the Hunger Games. There's no Game of Thrones in here at all, as far as I could tell, which was a bummer because I love that series. And there are some Hunger Games aspects, but I think it's the best parts of those books, and it kind of ditches the love triangle and other messy parts. And like I've mentioned, there's also a heavy Percy Jackson vibe. In Percy Jackson, I think one person dies throughout the entire 5-book series, and obviously it's written for kids, so what can you do about it? But in this book, someone dies pretty much every 5 sentences, so I guess in that aspect at least, it's pretty similar to Game of Thrones. I think space is going to be the big thing this year with this series and the Lunar Chronicles, and I'm sure there's some other ones. So space is the final frontier, in literature at least. I know many of you guys are reading this series now too, so feel free to chime in with your own thoughts and tell me which characters are your favorites and which moments you liked, and I think it's a lot of fun. There's a lot to talk about in this series, so I'm excited to chat with people about it. And if you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up, and if you're looking for more book reviews and book discussions and book hauls, this is the place, so feel free to subscribe, and I'll see everybody in a few days. Bye!